Hey guys, and welcome back to Total Tactics Football. It's Fran here. This is just the day after the kind of announcement from the European Super League coming out, and we've of course come out with the news from the UEFA president himself, Alexander Ceferini. He's mentioned the fact that there is going to be a ban imposed on players who try to participate on the World Cup and in the Euro Cup. The ban will kind of prevent these players from playing these competitions. But we've already seen a kind of brief kind of response from Florentino Perez himself, who is the kind of head chairman of the European Super League. He mentioned himself that if it is the case that players do get banned for these international competitions, he thinks that the players within the European Super League themselves will be able to host international competitions themselves. Now, of course, this is a little bit of a farce in my opinion because there are just not enough players within the European Super League teams themselves. If you look at the makeup of a lot of the players and the teams that actually participate in the World Cup, a lot of them do not come from these kind of top flight leagues, and on top of that, they don't come from these specific 12 clubs themselves, right? The participation within the Euro Cup and the World Cup and these kind of expanded structures themselves allow for a lot of players made up of teams of 23 and more. And I think it'll be so hard to kind of make a rival kind of competition and establish it, given the name value of the World Cup and the Euro Cup themselves. When we talk about the players, actually, Melissa Reddy reported herself that the players were somewhat blindsided by yesterday's news, and it seemed to be the truth that I think the players were not expecting this announcement, and it very might well be the case that the players kind of speak in unison against the Super League concept itself, right? We've seen pundits already kind of take a stance that is very welcomed, in that they're against the concept, that they're disgusted by the concept, and they think it's kind of fueled by greed. But on top of that, we've yet to kind of see like a big announcement from players within these specific teams themselves. We've seen some players react outside. Ander Herrera being a good example, a player for PSG who's mentioned that he doesn't really favor the concept. We've also seen and heard managers in previous times, especially Jurgen Klopp being the manager of Liverpool, who's been against the concept himself. We have yet to kind of wait for announcements from the managers, and we actually have games later today, amongst Liverpool and Leeds, amongst Chelsea and Brighton, where we might be able to hear once again Tuchel and Klopp speak about the latest news and how they feel about it. We've already seen Jose Mourinho get kind of the sack in Tottenham Hotspur, but I think that largely might have to do with competitive kind of results that haven't really gone Spurs' way, and kind of Spurs falling a little bit short off the mark in terms of getting top four in the league and their current position. But it still strikes at a really odd time because they still have a cup final to play very shortly, and they clearly didn't have a backup plan, as Ryan Mason has kind of been inserted in as the kind of interim manager. Now, when we go back to the players, I think another kind of mention from the UEFA, from UEFA, is that there will be further punitive announcements. So we're kind of on hold and standby, given the fact that clubs like Chelsea, clubs like Man City and Real Madrid are still involved heavily in Champions League play, and we don't exactly know what is going to happen for those teams. And the rest of the season is still in doubt, especially with the Premier League matches, as I've mentioned, as is the case with La Liga and Serie A. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there and how other domestic FAs respond to that, given the fact that the Premier League is, I think, so far the only one who's made a kind of strong stance in mentioning that they will remove these 6 commercial clubs from active competition if they do pursue these plans going forward. Now, just rounding off the topic as well, we're still on standby in terms of the commercial revenue and what kind of TV streamers can kind of be involved in the landscape. And we've seen Amazon, as reported by the Financial Times, being a top bidder. We've seen JP Morgan insert themselves as the kind of backer, the financier of the $6 billion that will kind of kickstart the league and kind of revert the kind of COVID fallout that the clubs have suffered. But a lot remains to be seen, and I think the public sentiment so far has gone very much against the Super League, although some are still a fan of the concept and like the idea, given the fact that it might strengthen their clubs. This is obviously largely going to help clubs like Arsenal and Tottenham, who aren't exactly performing super well in the league, and will benefit from really being in this structure that I think many people find uncompetitive and kind of untrue to the history of football. So stay on standby, please, for the news. We'll update you as soon as possible when we get further news. But for now, we're waiting for potential legal kind of repercussions as well from a potential ban on players. It might be the case that the Super League will kind of enforce their legal rights for their players potentially, and try to reinsert their players back into kind of these international competitions. But once again, everything remains to be seen, and we will kind of stand by and wait for any kind of player reactions, given the fact that they've been somewhat quiet on the matter over this really kind of turbulent 24 hours for football.